Hi, I'm Katherine Collins from HCAM TV, and you're watching the New England Wildlife Legacy. Here with me is Dr. Greg Mertz from the New England Wildlife Center. How are you today?
I am good, Catherine. Thank you.
Well,
Nice to have you on the show with me.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So today, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about reptiles. Okay? Generally, we're going to talk about reptiles as how they're put together. Okay? We talk a lot about reptiles on this show, in part because reptiles turn out to be good educational props. They demonstrate some fascinating things. So we end up getting them here. And it's also, you know, for people who know the Wildlife Center, know that the Wildlife Center cares for, I don't know, gosh, we care for something like 400 different species of animals.
Wow.
Okay, it's a lot of different kinds. So as caretakers, we know a little bit about a whole lot of things. Okay, and you talk to your physician or a dog and cat veterinarian, they know a whole lot about one thing, one species, and we're a little bit different than that. So we're more broadly based. So people who understand it, who the Wildlife Center is, would probably wonder why we don't bring on wild animals. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One is wild animals are wild animals. They don't like to be messed with. And bringing them in front of cameras and bringing them in front of lights and whatever, very hard on them. And that's not what our philosophy is. Our philosophy is to take those wild animals when they're sick, when they're injured, when they're orphaned. That's the only times we touch them. When there's a problem with them, we take them back and we put them out in the wild. Okay? Wild animals are out for the wild, should be in the wild. So it kind of sends us back to the pet world a little bit, and a lot of the pets around the Wildlife Center are reptiles. And we have with us, we have actually back at the center something like 20 different species of turtles.
No kidding.
2-3 different species of snakes, and 2-3 different species of lizards. Now the odd pet vet, which is a different part, it's a different part of the Wildlife Center, but what it is, it's this commercial veterinary practice. So if you have a sick bearded dragon or a sick Quaker parrot or a rat or a guinea pig, we do commercial veterinary medicine for those animals. Okay, so, but all the fees that come in from the odd pet vet support the nonprofit, support the care of wildlife and the education of people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so having said all that, what I've done today is I brought some reptiles. I brought a snake, I brought a lizard, and I brought a turtle. And we're going to look at them, and we're going to look at them through the eyes of an anatomist. Okay? Take ourselves back to the 1500s, let's say, and go, what are these animals and how are they put together? And trying to understand. We're not going to be looking microscopically. We're not going to be looking at function particularly. We're just going to look at the general form and the generalized function of how those animals are put together and how they're a little bit different from one another. Okay?
That
These
sounds
are
great.
all vertebrate animals, and I have here some vertebrae. These are the arcades that are fit into the back. If you turn around and touch your back, our backs, we have vertebrae in our backs. It's the lumpy thing that makes our spine, okay? Makes our backbone. And this is just 2 of those arcades, just 2 of those vertebrae. And I think this is from an ox. So this is a big animal. This is could be a cow, could be a bull, but it's an ox, and you can see that there's a big space under here, and the space under here is where the spinal cord runs through.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so the kinds of animals we're talking about today are vertebrate animals.
Okay.
They have vertebrae.
So
I'm gonna
all
lean off the
vertebrate
table.
animals do have these little knobs. Humans are vertebrate animals.
We are vertebrate animals, and we have the same. Now, it's interesting that when you get vertebrae to vertebrae to vertebrae to vertebrae to vertebrae to vertebrae, you know, you get these long strung out. There's a joint between each one, and they move. So that allows us to twist, allows us to go back, allows us to go forward.
Okay.
And of course, if you go too far back, too far sideways, you are going to hurt yourself.
So the point is to protect the spinal cord and allow enhanced mobility?
absolutely allows enhanced mobility.
Gotcha.
And think about that. The fastest animals on Earth.
Cheetahs.
Wrong.
No.
It's a hawk, a falcon. It's a type of falcon. And when it dives, it's a bird-eating falcon, not a merlin. Anyway, when it dives after another bird, they have to be really agile, and they have to be really fast. And they have a backbone. They have a backbone, and that backbone allows them the strength. It allows them the flexibility. It allows them the form. In other words, they turn themselves into a bullet-type form animal that they can go through the air at 100 miles an hour. Yeah. So you go back to the jaguar. The jaguar is kind of loping along behind it, like 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. Yeah, that's pretty fast. But nevertheless, that vertebrae is all working in the same way.
You would not want that bird swooping down on you at 100 miles an hour.
No, he would whack you right on top of the head.
Well, now we know for trivia in the future.
Okay, so now let's take out one of our animals that we brought with us, and this is a red-footed tortoise.
You promise it won't bite me.
I do not promise anything.
All right, fair enough.
I do not promise a thing. And I think if you could take that and spread it like a little tablecloth,
Absolutely.
because these vertebrate animals are, in fact, not always reliably hygienic.
Really?
Yes.
No, what do you mean by that?
They will urinate and defecate on the table and say, I don't want it to hurt anything.
Understood.
When they get nervous, okay? Okay, so what do we see?
We see is it a turtle or a tortoise?
You know, everybody would say that this is a tortoise. And the way you define what a tortoise is it's a land turtle.
Oh.
And they have elephant-like feet. And so if you look at that foot, you can see it's club-shaped like an elephant's. Absolutely, you can touch it.
Oh.
Okay, so people would say, yes, that's a tortoise. But you know what? It turns out that's a whole European thing. European people are the ones who came up with this definition of a tortoise, elephantine feet, and living out on the land. And in America, not so much anymore, but the vernacular is a turtle is a turtle is a turtle is a turtle. There are sea turtles, there are aquatic turtles, there are land turtles, there are all these other different kinds of turtles. But most people we talk to are going to look at this and see that it's a tortoise. They're going to say that it's a tortoise.
Oh.
Now, turtles have been on Earth for 210 million years.
So basically what we have in front of us is kind of a dinosaur.
We have a dinosaur here, yeah. Not in anatomical form, but they predate the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs have come and gone, and it's amazing. So there's something about this form. There's something about this anatomical construction that allows them to survive. Turns out we only have 252 species. There hasn't been a whole lot of different kinds of fossil turtles. There's some fossil turtles that are quite different than this. But most of them have been around for very extended long periods of time, and it really has to do with the fact that they have this shell. And so the backbone, these vertebrae that we were talking about over here, these backbone are placed in the turtle right beneath the shell surface. Wow. So if you go down inside, the backbone is here, 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 here. And so that are the vertebrae. That's the vertebrae. And those vertebrae are attached directly to the shell.
Wow.
So that old cartoon thing where a turtle gets wonked and he jumps up and he jumps out of his shell and runs across the street. No, turtles cannot turtles cannot disconnect from the vertebrae, their shells, any more than we can crawl out of our ribs.
So in comparison to like a hermit crab people might see on the beach, they know how those can leave. Turtles absolutely cannot do that.
Hermit crabs change shells all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they do it to show off to other hermit crabs. You know, they're looking, boy hermit crabs are looking at girl hermit crabs and trying to show off so they get a little bit better and bigger shell. You know, no, they can crawl out. These guys cannot. No.
Got it.
Okay, so the shell. How is that shell made? Well, I have some bits and pieces of shell here.
Oh, wow.
Right here is a piece of snapping turtle. This is actually, if you look at it, it is a rib.
Oh,
It is a rib.
my goodness.
And that rib has grown broadly. The rib has expanded. You see the rib there? And then it has expanded this piece of bone. And if we were to take the skin, this is skin of turtles. You can see it looks like, you can handle any of this stuff. The stuff that you're looking at here is skin. Just like on us, it is skin. And right beneath it, there are these arcades of ribs
That's incredible.
and vertebrae. And they have expanded. It is just like our ribs. It is just like our ribs have grown and then expanded from one rib to the next rib and grown together. That's what makes the shell.
Oh.
So the under part of the shell, on us, the manubrium, okay, is called a plastron, and that's his undershell.
Oh.
The carapace, which is the top part, carapace, is really the rest of us, is the way we're put together. So we're put together the same way the turtle is. They've just completed the growth pattern a little bit to close things up and in together. So they have skin, they have bone. So when you look at this, it's a layer of skin and then a layer of bone, and then guess what? Inside, there's a heart, there are lungs, there are kidneys, there's liver, there's pancreas, there's all the things that are inside of you are inside the turtle.
Well, isn't that clever of you?
Very clever.
I see that it has a number 3. Do you guys ever name your animals at the shelter?
Well, we do name them all the time, but we have so many volunteers who come and help us that people don't always remember which turtles which. So we put
Fair
a name
enough.
on it, and then there's a list on the wall.
Very smart.
Now, I have to move for a second because our next animal jumped off the table.
Oh, my goodness.
This animal was crawling away. Even though he was in his pillowcase, he still was able to crawl away.
And you were telling me earlier you came up with this method of transporting them. Why again?
Well, I didn't come up with this method, but Reptiles, carry most of their animals in pillowcases. Pillowcases are wonderful, you know. So this is a bearded dragon. I'm going to put this guy over here.
Sure. But they can coexist happily?
Well, temporarily.
Okay.
My biggest worry is the turtle crawls off the table. But this is a lizard, so what's the difference? Look at him. He's both got 4 legs. He's got a chest. He's got a back. He's got vertebrae. He's got a tail. Turtle has a tail, but he doesn't have a shell. Look at his face. He's got 2 eyes. The turtle has 2 eyes. He's got 2 nostrils. He's got a mouth. This guy has ears. Right there is the ear. That's the eardrum you are looking at, right into the eardrum.
Okay.
And so when the sound hits that, it's not going down through a tube like it does in us on our maybe that'll keep them together. But their eardrum is right there.
Is it very sensitive since it's so exposed?
Pretty sensitive. Yeah.
I think it's
We sometimes have to do exams and go and look directly at the ear, and you can tell that they get really rattled by that because they're trying to. Yeah, I mean, it must be like somebody stuck a screwdriver down your ear and it was like scratching your eardrum. So that would be kind of bad.
He's very
What do you want to
still.
know?
I am so curious about this guy. Now, are they normally so still?
Yeah, bearded dragons, a lot of reptiles spend a lot of their lives being still. And that's hard for people when they get them as a pet. They're expecting them to jump around and do stuff.
Play with them.
People come to us all the time and they go, he hasn't moved in 2-3 days. Well, that's what they do.
Now, quick question. As you were talking, its eye did something very odd. It looked like the lower lid kind of flashed up briefly.
So when you close your eyes, your eyes, upper and lower, come together.
Yep.
Same on them.
Oh, interesting. And I guess, where is this guy indigenous to?
This guy is Australian.
No kidding.
This red-footed tortoise, which is below him, is the South America. South America, rainforesty, not necessarily, more like subtropical rainforest.
And
You
do
know,
many
kind
of the creatures you take care of come from so far away?
Most of the animals we're taking care of in terms of a wildlife hospital, we're taking care of because we are taking care of things that come to us locally.
Like
But
people
those-
get pets and abandon them?
Well, again, we have the commercial part of the commercial part of the center, which is called the Odd Pet Vet.
Got it.
So those animals come from all over the world. That would be this guy. That would be this would be this guy. They would come to us because they have a cold, they have parasites, they have a broken leg, they have all the different reasons that people would go to the vet. Okay, so then we have the wildlife side. So from the wildlife that's coming to us, it's only things that are coming locally.
Okay.
Things that are hit on the road, dragged in by the cat, poisoned in the backyard, things like that. Yeah. Okay, let's get to our last animal here. Because this one blows the socks off of the other ones because it doesn't have any legs.
Uh-oh.
Okay, this is a boa constrictor.
Okay.
I may need your help with this, Catherine.
Now, when you said snake, I was expecting like little kind you see in the garden. This is a...
This is a boa. He's not that big.
Okay.
He's, I don't know, what is he, 4 feet long? Yeah, he's probably 4 feet long. And I'm going to have you hold his back part of him. Is that good?
Oh gosh, he is soft.
He's soft.
He feels so strong.
You go right to the middle. You go right to the middle. There's the backbone. And guess
Wow.
what? He's got a lot of vertebrae. He's got vertebrae, all the way down. He has 185 vertebrae strung in a row.
That's incredible.
And guess how flexible, guess how twisty, guess how they can go anywhere.
I can feel how strong he is. It's incredible.
He's muscle and he's vertebrae and he's got everything inside of him you have inside of you. He's got lung, got heart, got pancreas, got kidney, got liver, got, all those things. All the same things. So vertebrae. Reptiles. All three are reptiles. Turtle, lizard, snake.
Now, as someone who, before now, was not a really big fan of snakes, do you think there are a lot of common misconceptions that you'd like to take the time to correct?
Most snakes are not dangerous. Yeah. Just here and there, there's an animal that's a little dangerous. We're fortunate in the Boston metropolitan area, especially in Hingham, we don't have poisonous snakes. So we don't have any copperheads, we don't have any rattlesnakes. Up in the Blue Hills there are.
Oh.
Okay, so you hike up in the Blue Hills, you may run into. You have to be careful. You have to look.
What are some ways people can recognize safe ones versus the ones that might pose a
I
threat?
don't think there's a good solid way. I know some people talk about triangular heads and some people talk about elliptical eyes. And if you look at this guy's got a triangular head and he's the safest snake on the table.
Well, he's the only snake on the table.
So he's the safest snake around. I mean, boa constrictors are really very pleasant little pets.
He does look nice. He looks inquisitive and
Yeah.
happy.
So one of the questions you might have, and I fortunately just brought a knife and a fork along, the questions you might have is, do these guys have teeth? The lizard has a teeth, the red-footed tortoise has a beak, and they have grinding plates, but they do not have teeth.
Oh,
So they have grinding plates, no teeth. Grinding plate just means it's a flat surface. They have sharp beaks, and those beaks, boom, when they're sitting in the water, if they're an aquatic turtle, they can shoot out and grab a hold of something and pull it in. If they are an herbivore, which is what this guy is, see, he's trying to eat right now. An herbivore, he has to have a sharp beak so that he can cut the grasses and the plants that he's trying to get a hold of. Oh, I need to turn you around here. You're trying to walk away. These guys, they don't always do what you want them to.
just like kids, right?
Okay, so you go inside of a snake's mouth.
Okay.
You're going to I need you to put a hand right there,
Yep.
just like that. I'm going to pull down and I'm going to open his mouth.
Oh, goodness.
And you can see in his mouth, if you're really careful about
Wow.
with your hey,
He does not seem to care for it.
I want to just see if I can get his mouth to be open. You can see there are teeth in there. He's got about 60 to 80 teeth in his mouth. And those teeth are all curved backwards in his mouth. So this guy's a strict carnivore.
Okay.
So when he eats a mouse or something, he will grab a hold of it. Boom. And that's the gripping. The fact that the teeth are curved backwards in the mouth, that's what grabs a hold of the prey.
Oh, okay.
And then they
Do you
grab
need to grab
it
this fellow?
and then they coil around it
Mm-hmm.
and they suffocate.
The turtle does not like the snake,
No,
but everything's okay?
everything's fine.
Okay,
Oh,
just
yeah.
checking. All right, so they suffocate the mouse.
Yeah, strict carnivore, herbivore, insectivore, and herbivore. So this is an omnivore. So 3 different kinds of eating styles here. This is an omnivore animal. This is an herbivore, plant eater strictly. This is a strict carnivore.
Mm-hmm.
Thing about snakes, those teeth you saw inside of there, you cannot, those are tiny little curved teeth. They are not made to chew something up.
Okay.
They are made to grab something
And squish.
and then squish it and then just swallow it. Okay? So 3 very different ways about doing and getting their food. If you do that to the bearded dragon, here, let's just see if we can get him to open his mouth. I can't see because I have my glasses on.
Look at that.
And you can see that he has a big, broad tongue.
Mm-hmm.
That tongue is very good at tasting things. And then he's got teeth. He's got teeth plates. So he's got a series of teeth, one right out, just like the teeth on that knife.
Oh, little serrated.
Serrated things. And if they bite you on your thumb, it hurts. Because what they do is they grab a hold of you and then they wiggle their mouth. They go, and they sort of saw down through. They saw down through, what they're biting. And the turtle, of course, is different than that. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing well, I think.
Yeah, I think you are too.
His tongue, I did not expect to be black.
His tongue is black, and it's also really interesting in that tongue is constantly at work. The only time it's not at work, is when he's nervous.
Oh.
And so right now I picked him up.
He's not too thrilled about that.
So what I do is I let them go, and then suddenly he becomes
Curious again.
And I'm going to put that white there so maybe you can see that tongue is forked. Unlike that bearded dragon tongue, it's not forked. It's just a big blob of a tongue that comes out. His is forked. He's got a left fork and a right fork. And he takes that fork, and tips of that tongue are really, really good at censoring, at tasting. Your tongue, you taste with your tongue.
Yes.
Okay, you taste with your tongue. He tastes with his tongue. He sticks his tongue out into the air, and he is so good at tasting that he can taste the air. He can taste the air. He can taste the fact that there are cameras in here. He can taste the turtle. He can taste you, taste the bearded dragon, these vertebrae. He gets a complete taste image. We see in color, they taste in color.
As long as
We
I don't
see in
taste
3
yummy.
dimensions, they taste in 3 dimensions. Now, we don't want him to go down over the edge because then he will wrap himself into places.
We will never get him back.
And then we will have a hard time getting him back, and then you will have a new pet.
Oh, goodness, yeah, I can hardly get him off the table.
Yeah.
Oh, don't squish the
let's
turtle.
try to pull him up onto
Okay.
the...
Ooh, not around the turtle, please.
Not around. Oh, he's okay. That's all right. That part's okay. Just one minute. There we go.
Love
Get
this.
rid of our vertebrae. Bring them back. Now, boa constrictors are very curious about their surroundings. But after a while, once they get acclimated, and once they kind of know what's going on, they want to settle down. And so at this point, what he's doing is he's looking for a place to curl up or hang on to a branch or, yeah.
All right.
So, yep,
So of these three, do you have a favorite you like to work with?
snake.
Really?
Snake is a lot easier. You know, it's funny. I wrote an article called Why Turtles Hate Me. Okay? And when I do veterinary exams on turtles, you know, their best defense is to just simply pull their feet in front of their face. And so for me to do an exam, for me to get into their mouth and look to see what's going on or whatever, means I have to yank on their legs, I have to hold them, I have to pin them, I have to grab a hold of their beak, the mouth, and I have to pull it. I mean, it takes hard, pull it out, I have to trap. So they really don't like that. So all the turtles on the planet, there's this concept called the 100th monkey. And it means that once 100 monkeys know something culturally, all the monkeys of that species in the world know it.
Huh.
That's the theory. Okay. So anyway, the turtles have all learned to hate me. There's not a turtle on the planet that likes me. They all think that I am evil in some. But the snakes don't.
This guy.
The snakes. I get along with snakes a lot better than I do with either the lizards or. And it's interesting. Like people have me look at birds. They have me look at mammals and whatever. And the ones that seem to like me the best are the snakes. They don't get free. Where are you going? He's kind of all done too. I think that's the message here. Is it's getting.
Now, what do you feel like?
down.
What, can I pet him?
Absolutely. I'll put him right up here.
Oh, we've got quite a pile.
We got a pile of reptiles here. We certainly do.
Hi, buddy. That's your vertebrae.
Yep. You've got his vertebrae.
Nice.
Probably the very, very last thing to say is that, believe it or not, snakes have toes.
What? No
Snakes
way.
have toes. And if you look down here, his toes are very small, but right there is a toe. And that toe is a vestigial organ from when these guys were above ground reptiles.
Okay.
And as they got rid of all their limbs so that they could go into every tiny little hole, the very last thing to go were the toes. And some of the more primitive snakes, which the boids are, still have little bits of toes in there, on their bodies. So do you have any last quick questions? Or you?
Oh gosh, I feel like I have an hour more, but I know we only have a little bit amount of time with you.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about your work, where do you recommend they go?
New England Wildlife Center, 500 Columbian Street. So New England Wildlife Center, 500 Columbian Street. The other thing to do is go on our website, which is NE Wildlife, and the letter E, wildlife.org. And it's a mobile-friendly site, so you can learn a lot about what we do and how we do and all the different kinds of animals we take care of.
Now, how long have you been with the center?
I have been there for 27 years. Yeah, oof.
Well, congratulations, coming up
Thank
on
you.
big anniversary. What is the most rewarding part of your job?
Oh, doing things like this.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here today.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you, Catherine, for helping out.